Good morning. Welcome to Zen Glob, the podcast, meditation practice notes. Today I want to talk about the habitual body. So last weekend I was talking to my friend Nick, and this idea of the habitual body came up, and we talked about it for a few minutes, and then moved on, as we do, to all kinds of other topics. But that phrase and that thought has stuck with me, and I thought I would talk about it a bit more today. It particularly, I think, fits in with the discussion about karma from Tuesday, because when we were talking about the habitual body, I think Nick was pulling it from Gestalt theory, or some other modality, holistic modality. But here's kind of what I have kept from that conversation. Imagine, first, when I say body, I'm not referring immediately, first off, to the physical body, like your hands, your head, nose, shoulders, feet. Although the habitual body will manifest in the physical body, I want you to imagine kind of like an exoskeleton around the body, like a framework or a scaffolding. Think of a scaffolding around a building that's being constructed. Think of the launch tower next to the space shuttle or Apollo. The tower that is constructed next to the rocket that then falls away as it's launched. But think of something like that around the body, and it may have joints, and it may be screwed together in particular ways. These are, and then when that frame moves, the body moves. And when that frame moves, the mind moves. These tubes, the scaffolding, these joints, the screws, the nuts, the bolts, these are the habits and practices that filter our experience and determine our action. They are the precepts from which we take action. Now, some of them are intentional and virtuous. Right? A good example, we make a decision to go to the gym every day, or make a decision to podcast twice a week. That fits into a place in that exoskeleton, and then it acts. And at a certain point, right, it becomes habitual. We don't think about it intentionally. There are also millions of components of this exoskeleton, this habitual body, that we are not aware of every day, and yet are just as present in the determination of our actions. And although some of these may be virtuous and create a cycle that moves towards our aspirations, many of them are not. Many of them are neutral or negative. They are, and because they are unthought, we assume that it's simply the way that it is. We assume that the perception that comes through this exoskeleton of habit and karma, right, to bring it back to that discussion of habit, the things that are there because we've simply done them a lot. But then why do we do them a lot? We do them a lot because they are the manifestations of the karmic imprints that we're trying to uncover and evaporate. Nick and I were talking about this at first because I had mentioned how after my dog died last month, it took a while before I could walk the same path that my dog and I had taken every day. And when I first did it, I had a very it was very difficult. I stumbled. I sort of felt constrained physically, and that all makes sense, because then Nick said, "Well, that's think of the habitual body that is used to taking this walk for 10 years every day with this being, this furry, curly-tailed being." And now that isn't there, but the echo of the habit is. And my response in the conversation was that I could actually feel chunks of the habit falling off as I was walking. It was like I was going through a car wash, and chunks of expectation, like immediate chunks, were falling off. Some of this is very apparent, right? Every day for the last 10 years, we've stopped at the same corner so my dog could poop. And because he liked it there, he liked to poop in that corner. And I can't blame him. It's a nice corner. For the first day walking past that corner and not stopping to let my dog poop, I could feel it was like a chunk of ice falling off a building. The habitual body, right? When we make changes in lifestyle, there's a back and forth between the physical body and the habitual body. We can think about doing things that are different. Sorry, the technical glitch there. The lights all went out in my studio up here. So I've forgotten what I was saying. I think it was the back and forth between the body and the habitual body, the physical body. That's right. We can think about doing something different, but it can stop with the thought, and we might want to do that if it's a thought that we've decided that we do not want to cultivate. The thought to pick up a cigarette, for example, if I've decided to quit smoking, or not to pick up a drink if I've decided not to drink, or if it's something aspirational. The thought when my alarm goes off at 4:02 in the morning, and I say I'm going to get out of bed, until that thought turns into action, it's just a thought. But that thought is filtered and manipulated by the framework, this exoskeleton of habit, this exoskeleton of karma. And it's hard to tell the two apart, because in many ways they are the same. Our thoughts and our feelings are the growth of our karmic seeds, and then they form this habit body around us. Now, we can change those habits when we pick up a practice and we say that every morning I'm going to practice the nundru, I'm going to practice contemplation of impermanence, I'm going to practice stillness or guru yoga, or whatever the practice is, any of the tens of thousands of different practices that come in. We are taking that practice, and it is unscrewing one of the joints of the habitual body. And it may replace one of the joints of the habitual body. But at the end, it is just another habit. So always as we talk about this, and as I think about the habitual body, even if every negative trace in that exoskeleton were replaced with a beautiful form carved with mantras that aspired towards enlightenment and compassion, it's still a habit body. And at the end of it, even that falls away, and what's left is the natural soul. But this habitual body is an immediate expression of our our thoughts, which are the fruition of our karma. And you can see how easy it is to change it. When we do practices like mantra repetition, it's easy to think of mantra repetition as the accumulation of benefit, and that it's almost like banking, whatever, something in the bank, banking benefit in the bank, putting benefit in the bank. It's easier to think that because that's the language that's in the texts about the accumulation of merit through the recitation of mantras. But why is there merit? It doesn't matter about reciting a mantra. I think where I'm at right now, my thinking on this is that when you recite a mantra or when you visualize something, you are not engaging in one of the preordained habitual frames. You are replacing an unthought joint in the habitual body with a thoughtful, mindful joint. And better that it be a mantra of compassion than not. And as the mantras of compassion, for example, replace some of the unthinking, uncompassionate framework, then our actions become spontaneous because the framework is there and it subsides into the structure of our thoughts and bodies, and the distinction between the external framework and what I consider myself reduces. Now, the self is a fiction made up of this framework, and that's a topic for many other days. But just to wrap it up then. So the habitual body is immediately accessible through our thoughts and actions, at the same time as it drives our thoughts and actions. It's a cycle that we can, with effectiveness, change. And we should. And it is one of the first aspirations of the practice, and one of the first benefits of the practice is that we start to become more mindful of what the causes of our actions are. And do we choose to cultivate those causes or replace them with something else? Anyway, please do like, subscribe, etc. I'm thinking of moving these meditation videos onto a separate meditation channel in YouTube, and sort of distinguishing between my musical work and my these sort of more frequent podcasts. So if you've gotten this far and are listening to this, you are probably one of the people who have an opinion on whether that would be a good idea or not. So let me know in the comments, or drop me an email, zenglop@gmail.com, if you have any thoughts on the focus of the channel, whether it makes sense to hive this stuff off. Anyway, keep your wits about you.